Wow, it's just you and me today, buddy. Episode 31. I think we have a lot more than 31, but since we've been keeping track, Terry, we got episode 31 today, and this is our recap. You didn't tell me my collar wasn't pulled down either, but
Your
this is
collar's
our
not pulled
recap.
down.
This is our recap of leaving California, Southern Freedom Tour. What a whirlwind it was. I thought
I'm
it'd be
still
kind of,
recovering. I don't mind
yeah.
telling you. That
I
was,
think, yeah, I
yeah.
thought it'd be fun to just go through city by city and just give a highlight. There's so many memories, and I said this before. This is a lifetime memory, obviously, of the trip that we had, and it was really fun. It was really hard. So don't anyone out there listening think that 14 hours a day is easy, but it was well worth it, and we're super excited about the footage and the attention that we're getting. So how you doing, buddy? What's going on?
Well, I'm excited to see the videos that we make, but I'm also excited when we help educate our members about the benefits of moving to some of these towns. I was blown away. I'm born and raised in the South, lived in California 35 years, but I saw places that I hadn't seen. Well, some of them I'd never seen, but Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, been there in 1969, and now it's 2024. So a
Yeah.
lot happened in 55 years,
Wow.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
55 years. I was 10. They were landing
Oh,
on the
well,
moon last time I was in Myrtle Beach, landing on the moon for the first time.
people are going to be able to know your age now.
65 this month, May 2024, May 31st.
I'm 51, I think. So, oh
Oh,
wait, no, I'm
stop it. Stop
61.
it.
Sorry, no, I was off by 10.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so we stay active, and boy, let me tell you, this group really does keep us active. So I thought it would be kind of fun to go back to my slideshow, and we're just gonna kind of walk everybody through each town, and we're gonna keep this short and sweet, and we're gonna tease you guys a little bit with some of the we had a videographer, cinematographer, actually a cinematographer that's gonna put all this together, and I think everybody in our groups are gonna be really super impressed. So let's get this party started, and let's go on our memory of the Leaving California tour. We don't really need that, but let's
No, we
do
don't.
this. How about if we go over here this way and we
At least you're
do.
prepared.
I'm ready to go, bud. I've been waiting to do this for a while. So let's even start with slide one. So here we are in Johnson City. This was our day off.
Johnson City, Tennessee. You got to say the state because people won't
Johnson
know.
City, Tennessee. We were there. And by the way, Terry, I don't mind saying this publicly, buddy. I was a little bit on the heavy side, so I've actually got really motivated, and I've lost 10 pounds since we did this thing, and I'm on my way. I'm going to lose more than 10,
Good
so
for you.
I'm excited about that. And then so here we go. This was the drive, and Mr. Gilliam, as I mentioned before, drove. What's the full mileage count?
It was over 2,600. It was less than 2,700, but with 2,600 miles in 2 weeks.
2,600 miles. And did any of us get to drive the car at all while we did this?
Not a foot other than me.
Terry was the only one that drove, and he started all the way down here in Orlando, and we ended up in Franklin, and then he had to backtrack and go back to Cookeville. But anyway, let's just talk about the trip. So I didn't get to drive with you from Orlando, but we met in the Atlanta area, and we went to Sonoy. That was one of our favorites. Let's talk a little bit about Sonoy, Georgia. What did you think of that town?
Well, first, there's no I at the end of Sonoya, so just so people know what to look for. And by the way, remember the old folks, old town members call it Sonoy, not Sonoya, but it's really Sonoya. I was amazed at Sonoya, Georgia. We're going to say this every once in a while, but Mayberry RFD,
Yeah.
beautiful little downtown. It's built by a public-private partnership with some conservative folks from Hollywood who've come down the Walking Dead series. In fact, I actually went on my cable subscription yesterday, and I've recorded some Walking Dead videos that I'm going to watch because I've never seen it before. But 11 seasons. Apparently, people come from all over the world to Sonoya, Georgia, to see all of the houses there where the mayor lived and this person lived, et cetera, in Sonoya. But a wonderful little town. Fried Green Tomatoes was filmed in this town. So a beautiful little southern town that's kind of been discovered. You definitely, it's not certainly Franklin prices, but you're up there a little bit in the prices. But the nice thing is you're only about 45 minutes, I think, from the Atlanta airport, which means you can get anywhere in the world from Sonoya. And it's just a beautiful place.
And Andrew, was it Andrew Love or Andrew Lowe?
Andrew Lowe, yeah.
Andrew Lowe, he was one of our best hosts. I mean, every host was
They were
amazing,
all great. Yeah,
but
they were all
Andrew
great.
was just phenomenal. And the hospitality, he took us out to this amazing lunch we had, and we got to tour the town, walk the streets. We got drone footage. We got to meet the former mayor, I believe.
Yep, former mayor who's now the
Former
city
mayor.
manager.
I mean, just an amazing little town. If you're looking for a nice little peaceful area that offers a lot and 45 minutes away from everything you could ever imagine, Sonoya was really, really nice. And it was a great city to start. He had a full packed day, and then we had a 4-hour drive to get to Charleston. I don't think we ended up leaving until about 7 o'clock, 6:30. It was a full packed day, and I give that one a very good check mark. And then, so we end up in Charleston, South Carolina, which I had never been there before. And that's another coastal town. That's a coastal town and so much history. Talk a little more about Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah, Corinne is our realtor there. She's a wonderful former Californian who traveled the country for a long time. I think it was 1 or 2 years, traveled the country to try and figure out where to end up.
In a motorhome, yeah.
Traveled the country in a motorhome with her family, her 2 young children, Corinne Kane, and she loved it so much. She moved to Somerville, right next to Charleston. Loved it so much, became a realtor. Now works with a lot of California transplants who want to move to the Charleston, Somerville area. And again, a very historic town. The Civil War started in Charleston. You have many buildings there, houses and buildings that were built in the 1700s for sure.
Yeah.
But a wonderful port city. I think it was the largest, if not, didn't she say it was like the largest port in?
I think she did. Yeah, I do remember that. And by the way, everyone, for you guys that are listening, we had a photographer. His name was John. He was amazing. And we had over 500 photos. I had thought about putting the photos together for this, but it would just take too long. So we're going to make you guys wait for the actual video footage. And we'll be spicing in a lot of photos in the next several months from some of our highlights. But she was Corinne Kane. She was an amazing host. I mean, just the sweetest person. Took us out to an amazing lunch right there on the waterfront. Beautiful city. The weather was perfect. I mean, I can't say one bad thing about Charleston, South Carolina. It was amazing.
I agree. Beautiful.
So then we get in the car, and Terry probably remembers because he's the driver. How far was it from Myrtle Beach from Charleston to Myrtle Beach?
It was about 2 hours. Not bad, but it was late at night. We didn't get there till like I think 10 o'clock or something like that. We got to Myrtle Beach, so that was And then it only took the hotel. It was actually a nice little hotel, not little, but it was a hotel. I don't know what the deal is. I did it on Expedia, but it took like half an hour for them to. They were on their computers typing away. I mean, it's like for half an hour. I'm like, I just want to check in. Can you use my credit card and let me in? But anyway, nice little hotel on the beach, and we got to see it in the dark. Oh, really? You remember the moon was coming up? The full moon.
It was a full moon on the ocean. It was amazing, and maybe
it was beautiful.
Maybe it was their first day, Terry. Maybe they had just started and they hadn't finished their training yet.
I don't think so. I think it takes half an hour to check in.
So
and the parking lot was full. We got free parking, but it was full, so we had to go to paid parking, which was also a nice inconvenience. So, but anyway, Zach Peak did an amazing job of rounding up the leader of the Visitors Bureau for Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
And then we got to do our video at the Dunes, which for any golf fans, just hosted the PGA tournament last weekend in Myrtle Beach. So that was at the Dunes.
Unbelievable.
We got to visit with the president of the Dunes and do a video with him. And Zach just did an amazing job. And they've got the Grand Strand, right? 60 miles of beaches that we mostly toured.
Yeah, we hit a lot of that. We got to go. That was where we went on the pirate ship.
That's right,
We kept
Arg.
saying, yep, yep. And man, just an amazing lunch again. Being on the pirate ship, being in the water. I love the ocean, and so we get to Myrtle Beach, and I said, Terry, I think this is going to be my favorite. This is going
Yeah,
to be my favorite, and I loved everything about Myrtle Beach. Matter of fact, me and my daughter are talking about going back there, and in sometime during the summer. But again, highly recommended. And I don't believe that the price points were pretty reasonable in Myrtle Beach and the
they really
outskirts.
were. You can
Yeah.
be inland from the beach, not very close to the ocean, and be inland. And I think housing prices are pretty affordable.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It is kind of, I mean, I'm a Las Vegas guy, as all you guys know, but I mean, it had a little bit of a Las Vegas feel, but man, with that beautiful ocean, it blows Las Vegas away. Just from because I love the ocean so much, and I think that the affordability is a little better. So here we are, we're in Myrtle Beach, and now we're going to be driving to Columbia. How far? What was that?
That wasn't bad either. I think that was about 2.5 hours.
Okay, so we get into Columbia, South Carolina. Probably got there around 10 or 11 o'clock. We had our little routine. We have 4 guys in our crew, including Terry. Terry goes in, he checks in, he gets the keys. We got everything unloaded, and my goodness, we had a lot of equipment. So we had, the little roller things. We had to fill 2 of them up, and we get everything ready, and we're standing outside waiting for the keys, and everybody's just like, okay, we're ready to go to bed. There was no after parties for any of us. By the time we got there, there were a few times where we hadn't eaten dinner yet, so we were eating late dinners around 9:30 or 10. But by the end of the day, I was wiped out. I don't know, maybe you were ready to go, but I wasn't.
Oh, sure. Yeah, all 65-year-olds after being up at 6 a.m. and touring and then driving for hours. Yeah, all 65-year-olds are ready to go out and have a great time.
I know, I know. So let's talk about Columbia, South
Well,
Carolina.
yeah,
Uh,
Brandon Hoffman. Wow, what I had never been to Columbia before, the capital city of South Carolina, and also has the other USC, University of South Carolina. What a beautiful town, beautiful downtown, beautiful area, lots of things to do, lots of people, lots of California transplants that Brandon's worked with there. He owns an amazing Keller Williams brokerage there. I loved it. And then how about that reservoir, or that whatever we call it, reservoirs in California? How about that lake? Or
oh my
500
gosh.
miles of shoreline on that lake that he took us to.
Say it again. How many miles?
500 miles of shoreline.
That's a lot.
Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. It just blew me away. I loved it, and especially downtown. Remember walking downtown there where we saw that gong that we were banging and
Yes,
stuff
I
like that?
remember that. That was awesome. And
Yeah,
then
that was.
doing the interviews all over the city. Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
you guys, you'll have a lot of good, cool things to see when we get our videos done from Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh, and we ate at that down home barbecue shop too. Remember the lunch we had with that like 85-year-old lady taking our money
Oh,
there?
yes. And guess who went up there? Guess who went up there and got seconds?
Oh yeah, well that would be you, big
And
boy.
that's why I needed to lose. I got to lose 20 pounds. I'm halfway there. But speaking of, oh, you just brought back another memory from Georgia. I forgot to mention something. Oh, yeah. I think, wasn't it in Sonoya that Terry Gilliam got David Barry to go to Bonefish for the very first time? And
No, that was
Bang
Charleston. That was
Oh.
Charleston.
Oh my gosh, the Bang Bang Shrimp. That was
Bang
the best
bang
shrimp
shrimp. Yep.
I ever had in my life. So all these memories are coming back. Guys, you got to understand, we basically slept about 4 or 5 hours a night, and we were together 16 hours a day. So there's a ton of memories. So if something pops back in my head, I might have to share. So here we are. And by the way, Brandon, what an amazing host. What a great guy. I highly recommend him. He's phenomenal. You
Yes.
can't go wrong with him. And was he the one that had his attorney did an interview?
Yes. Because in South Carolina you use attorneys for closing.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
what a guy. So now we're done with Columbia, and we're like, okay, we're gonna go to Greenville. And I gotta be honest, I wasn't very excited about Greenville. So Terry, maybe you can explain what happened to me when I got to Greenville and we were out there in the courtyard. And so now we're in Greenville, South Carolina, and you'd been there before, but I had never been.
Yeah, we got there. We got there not too late. We got there like at 7 or 8 o'clock. Or no, I think 7 o'clock or something.
Seven right
And
before
so it
the
was still
sunlight.
light, which was
Yep.
nice. It was nice to get there at during the daytime. We were right downtown, right on the river. There's a beautiful river that runs right through the middle of town, and with a waterfall and things like that. It's a beautiful downtown area, very walkable, very enjoyable. And if you remember, it was Thursday night. They had live music playing outdoors. You remember hearing that as you're walking by the river and
Oh
seeing.
yeah, lots of blues. It was like the blues capital of the world or something. They have all kinds of cool
Now
bars
that's
and
Memphis. Bluegrass, I think, is Greenville. Bluegrass.
okay,
The blues capital is Memphis. So
okay.
I think bluegrass capital might be Greenville. But
But they have, yeah, I heard the music and it was phenomenal. And then I actually said it, and I think I rescinded, but I said I think Terry, this is going to be my favorite place. It was spectacular. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. It was really, really, really pretty. And then we had Shay Faulkner. What another amazing host. She came, she met us, she walked around the town. We got a lot of pictures. She had an amazing event. We did
oh
interviews
my
with
gosh,
all of her.
she had a ton of former Californians
Yeah,
in our meeting, in our reception.
yeah.
Lots of interviews with former Californians who could not be happier living in the Greenville area, upstate. They call it upstate. So if you're anywhere around Greenville, they call it upstate.
And what was our new saying? Every one of them said that they wish they had
Left sooner.
I wish they had left sooner. So another great host. I guess it's probably it's got to be number 2 or 3, but it's up there in the top. I highly recommend Greenville. If you've never been there before, you got to check it. Check it out. I wasn't very excited about it, but after I left, I couldn't stop talking about it. So now we're in Greenville and we're heading over to Charlotte, North Carolina, which we kind of put together last minute, and we met this wonderful person named Yvonne, who actually is a part of our group. And we were reaching out to different realtors. And Terry said, you know what? Why don't I just put a post in our group and see who pops up? And she was one of our realtors anyway. She lived on the outskirts. Tell them about the Charlotte story. That was very interesting.
Well, Yvonne Howder, our realtor up there, she lives in the Lake Norman area, which is just north of Charlotte, but she knows the entire metro area. Again, the great thing about Charlotte is that airport, you can just about go anywhere in the world from the Charlotte airport, because Charlotte is the banking capital of the U.S. if you're not in Manhattan, I guess. But Bank of America is based there. Several other banks are based there. And she showed us around. I've driven through Charlotte a couple of times in my life, but never toured it. And wow, what an amazing town. Lots of history there also. Beautiful homes. She really showed us a lot. And then she toured us on Lake Norman, and we had lunch right next to Lake Norman. And Lake Norman, again, another lake with hundreds of miles of shoreline. And boy, just such a great area.
Well, the crazy part of the story is that I think we ended up talking to her the day before we arrived. And this woman was actually in the middle of doing an open house for one of her listings. And she basically dropped everything that she had on her calendar for the afternoon on a weekend. And I mean, what just an amazing host. And she brought her son along, and we got to go. What was the name of that boat that we took a picture of? This Doesn't Suck.
Yeah, This Doesn't Suck. That's right.
And I got to be honest, it really didn't. The lakes and the water and the marina. Oh, and then she took us to lunch right there in the marina. I mean, she was a great host. She really showed us around, gave us a better understanding of Charlotte. And Charlotte, I wasn't sure because I had never been there, but Charlotte was amazing. Really, really nice town.
I agree. Let's face it, we weren't disappointed anywhere we went.
No, they were great. And so now here we're going. Now Terry's like, we're going to Morristown, Tennessee. Morristown? I never heard of Morristown. And so again, I wasn't very excited about it. I was like, okay, well, if it's on the tour, we're going to go. And this was the sleeper of the trip. Talk about Morristown. This place is amazing.
Well, Lynette Liberta Wright, our realtor up there, has been helping some Californians in the group move to Morristown. So I said, well, we should go check it out. So we went, first, remember, we stopped in Asheville on the way. Remember
Asheville. That was really cool.
Yeah, Asheville is definitely a left-leaning town, but boy, was it hopping. We were there on a Saturday night. Yes, it was a Saturday night. Uh, Managed to find a parking spot right downtown, which was unusual. You could tell that it's a left-leaning town because I'll just leave it there. You could
Okay.
tell.
Okay.
But nice town, nothing against it, and a beautiful, and the weather was incredible. So, and then from there we drove up to Morristown. Morristown is a place that I think is a sleeper. I think it's a place that people just don't know about because they don't know about it. You're 45 minutes from Knoxville in Morristown, which means if you're retired or you need special health care or anything like that, you've got some of the best health care in the East Coast in Knoxville, which is a university town. They've got great health care in Knoxville. But you're far enough away to where, how about that housing price? We saw brand new construction. I think that, don't quote me on it, but it was like a 1,600 square foot house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath with an oversized garage, 600 square foot garage, which is every man wants an oversized garage.
Right.
Because you got too much stuff to put in the typical garage. And that builder knows that, so he builds oversized garages. And that house on a half acre was $375. Brand new house.
It was
and that's
amazing.
in the Morristown area. It's not in Morristown proper. But John, the photographer, and I were driving around, and we were using the realtor app, and we looked at a house, and I said, well, that house, it had a beautiful view. It was on a hilltop, nice, semi mountaintop, maybe a foothill type, overlooking this beautiful valley. And I looked it up. It was a 7,000 square foot home. It had a separate 3-car garage with carriage doors. This was a very high end home. And I said, oh, that's $1.5 million. And we looked up, and it was like $880,000. And I'm 7,000 square foot house. Are you kidding me? With that view? So and again, Morristown also, I think it was called Cherokee Lake. We saw that beautiful 5-bed, 3-bath, 2,500 square foot home, 2-year-old house for sale, which was really a 7-bedroom because they did have closets, but you can't count it as a bedroom because it didn't have a window because it was in the basement. So 5-bed, 3-bath, 2,500 square feet, 3 stories, 700 on the lake, $750,000. $750,000. I mean, that just, there's plenty of $1 million houses on the lake there on Cherokee Lake in Morristown. But anyway, and for those looking to work, lots of jobs in that area. You've got chicken manufacturer. I think you've got aerospace there. You've got several. In fact, they didn't really experience the recession of the 08, 09, 2010 that the rest of us did because they have such a diverse manufacturing sector there. And how about that downtown? The only elevated sidewalk, the entire downtown has a 2nd-story sidewalk all the way down. The only one in the country is what they say. At least when they built it, it was the only one.
We went into this ceramic store, and they helped us make Leaving California coffee mugs, which
keep talking. I'll go get mine.
Which was so cool. So we got to go in, and they were like, yeah, we'll make you guys a couple of coffee mugs for your trip. And that was kind of like a memento of our trip. So what a sleeper town. It was amazing. I could not believe the price of real estate there. And anyway, I'm just waiting for Terry to get back.
There I am.
But oh, wow, look at that.
Isn't that nice?
That's awesome.
Whoop.
And
Morristown,
they asked me not to tell you. They wanted us to keep it a secret because they want to keep their real estate prices low. So you can hear it from us.
That's true.
And what's funny is when we were getting in the car and we were driving to our next city, Terry said, I think I might actually see myself buying a house here and living up here in the summers because it gets a little hot in Florida. And I said, me too, because I would definitely consider that. It was an amazing town. Highly recommend it. So I guess we have to stop talking about Morristown.
Yes.
So then we go to Knoxville, and Knoxville is amazing. I love Knoxville. It was really, really nice.
Tellico Village. Tellico Village was where we started. Tellico Village is a older adult, active adult community. They do allow children, but there's I think there are schools in the area.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of water there too. A lot of reservoirs, or what do they call them? Tennessee TVA. water there, Tennessee Valley Authority, where they built all of these dams and then created all these waterways back in the, I think it was Depression era. Yeah. And Haley Van Edom and Amy Lucas took us all around. They were spectacular. Of course,
They really
Haley's
were.
one of our, for years, has been one of our top agents in the group, helping a large number of Californians move to Knoxville area.
I don't know if I mentioned this. I want to back up to Morristown because Lynette was just on it. What a great host. And again, I wasn't excited, but by the time I was done, I was a fan, and she was an amazing host. And then Haley, Haley and I have been friends for a long time, and she's amazing. So I was really excited to see Haley. I've just become friends with Amy, but both of them, oh my gosh. And they had a full packed day. What an amazing day that they had planned for us. So we spent the majority with Haley, and then Amy spent some time with us in the afternoon. I mean, it just was
Well,
phenomenal.
let's not forget also, we Monty Phelps, our national sponsor, met us there also. So we toured with him too.
Yeah, Monty ended up meeting us there, and we got to make sure I don't want to forget our buddy. So this was the crew.
That's at Bonefish there in Charleston.
So I said, nah, Terry, I'm not really a big I mean, I like shrimp, I like lobster, I'll eat fish once in a while. He goes, no, David, come on, they got everything. Let's go.
You won't eat fish every once in a while.
So this is Brandon. He was our cinematographer. This guy was running up and down the streets. I mean, he wanted to capture the perfect shot every single time, and he did it for 14 hours a day. And my hat goes off to this man. He's still got his hat on. But I mean, he was unbelievable. If you are looking to do any kind of video work or whatever, this guy, I can call him a kid because I'm over 60. This kid was unbelievable. Just super professional, did whatever we needed. And then John, he was kind of our director. He was coordinating everything.
Yeah, tour coordinator.
Day. Yeah,
and full-time pastor.
And he's a full-time pastor, so we'd all hold hands in the morning, and we would say our morning prayer, and John would bless our day. He would bless every single meal that we had. And here I am, I'm thinking to myself, okay, and originally Terry had said, you're going to be staying with Brandon, and I'm going to stay with John because he's my pastor, and I have a relationship with him. I already know him. Well, for whatever reason, we ended up switching the seating chart. And I was like, I don't know these people. I'm going to be staying with a guy I don't even know. So I ended up staying with Terry. And the group, we just all fit together really, really well. It was awesome. Nobody argued. We all got along great. And you can imagine after 14 hours, there could be a little tension going on. But there really wasn't any. We all agreed on everything, and we got along fantastic. And then as Terry mentioned, that's our national sponsor, who I had just met a couple of weeks ago. He's got this guy, his vision is unbelievable. And he is going to be one of the reasons why Terry's vision is insane. But Monty's vision is even a little beyond that, I think, for our group. And there's going to be some amazing things happening with our Leaving California groups. And we're super excited. So I just wanted to share a picture of Monty, our national sponsor, and the team. And anything else you want to add about Knoxville?
I'm trying to think what else we did. Of course, as I mentioned, a beautiful downtown. We had lunch downtown.
Haley's restaurant. We went through Haley's restaurant.
Market Square, I think it's called. And then we got to tour that high-end Hilton property, which is where all the what do they call them? All of the superstars, when they come to Knoxville, that's where they stay at that Hilton Carriage House, I think it was called.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, Carriage House. So if you want to go, maybe they said what was not Peyton Manning. Eli Manning stays there when he comes to town. Stays in that hotel. So.
Knoxville, highly recommended. Real estate is reasonable. I mean, their prices are still much, much less than California. Cost of living is low. We talked about leaving California, welcome to America, I think that's where we really started talking and elaborating on that, where you're not so restricted. You could actually open up a business and you don't have to wait 6 months before you get approved. And you don't have to wait to go to a second hearing and a third hearing. I mean, it's crazy. They actually allow you to do business and to make money. What a concept, Terry.
Yeah, and let's not forget, we talked to two homeowners who were in the groups who had moved there from California, One gentleman said, I think his house was $500,000 and he pays $800 a year in property taxes. Holy smokes, are you kidding me? And then let's also remember, no state income tax there either. So
Right.
remember, that's where we met with the Blount County Schools. We met with the school
Oh,
district
that's
there.
right.
And Blount County Schools blew me away. They've
Me
got
too.
all these, they've got, you can basically, if your child is gifted, they can almost go through the first year of college while they're still in high school because of the advanced classes that they offer. And then they do things like they offer wood shop, welding, metal shop, auto repair. They offer all of these skills in high school. And in my head, I was like, well, how do they do that? They, if you're not paying property taxes and you're not paying state income taxes, it's because they've got these foundations that raise funds for the school districts to help support all of this. I was blown away. I'm telling you, if I was raising my kids, I'd move to Blount County in the Knoxville area and raise my kids, because they're going to get a first-class education that's going to prepare them for the real world, not the indoctrination that they go through in California, which teaches them that there's 35 different sexes, or maybe 135 different sexes, and you were just born the wrong gender, and if you go through all this surgery, you'll be the happiest person on earth, when we know that's not the case. Don't get me started.
I was so impressed with them. I really was super impressed. They actually care about the families. They actually listen to the parents. They listen to feedback. They want to know how we can do a better job. It was so great. And we asked them, we said, I remember, we were going to talk a little bit about California politics. They're like, no, we don't want to talk about that. But we just want to talk about what we do. And we want to focus on what we do. We don't care what other people do. And maybe that's part of California's problem, is they care too much. But they care about what people think, but they don't care about the results and what it does to these kids. Oh my God, don't get me started, because the COVID thing, I have a daughter and she was in school during COVID, and to keep the kids out of school, they pretty much lived their lives. I think she said they were only out for 2 weeks and they went back and life was normal. And the kids.
That's right, in Blount County. County.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Knoxville, check mark, really good.
Great place.
The hosts were amazing. Food was amazing. Scenery was amazing. Everything great. So now, this was the only mistake.
Oh, wait. Let's also not forget, we had the reception at the Van Edom Wine Bar.
Oh, I know
that.
Just,
that's Haley and her husband Bart have this wine bar that they built, and just a beautiful place. Beautiful place.
Haley's, you could just see her touch. She has that magic touch, and she has it all throughout the restaurant. She said, oh no, I did all this myself. So attention to details when you talk about interior designing.
Yeah.
And we already know from all the testimonials that we've gotten about her that attention to detail is very, very important to her, and you can't go wrong with Haley. And obviously Amy, she'll work 24 hours a day if she has to get you happy. So the only mistake that Terry makes, and I think he did this on purpose, but he actually made a wrong turn, the only one out of 2,600 miles. And the next thing you know, he's like, we're in Nashville. And I'm like, Nashville, this is awesome. So we're driving down Nashville and we're looking, I think it was a Monday night, and it was
Broadway.
Insane.
Broadway.
I was so tired, but I was tempted to go, Terry, come on, let's go look at a place. But we all agreed.
Look, I love Broadway, and I was tempted. It's that street just hops. I've been to Broadway dozens of times in Nashville. I love that street. Every bar has live music. There's no cover charges to get into any of them. And those musicians all live on tips, so you just tip well, and they play. They're just amazing. They're world class musicians there on Broadway.
Well, we could blame it on the farm, but I can't blame it on the farm because I love the farm, and the food at the farm was unbelievable. And it just happened to be the owner of the farm's wife's 75th birthday or something.
Wait, you're going back to Morristown. That's Morristown.
Oh wait, no, what place were we at?
That was Morristown.
Oh yeah, see all these memories. See what happens when you get old?
No, I don't, because I remember.
Well, then you tell me why because we went to Haley's restaurant and we got to eat dinner there, which was amazing, by the way. And that's why we ended up, because my point was, if it was earlier, we would have parked the car and we would have went down in Nashville. It was like 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night.
It was late. It
It
was
was
late, and
very late.
it was a 3.5 hour drive from Knoxville, so it was time to hit the hay because we had Franklin the next morning. We stayed in Franklin at the Best Western hotel. It was not the Best Western. I'm sorry if they're listening, but we stayed at the hotel, and next morning, 10 o'clock, we met Ethan Lanigan, who gave us a great tour of Franklin, Tennessee. Again, boy, a beautiful downtown. How about that downtown? Absolutely beautiful, historic downtown.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing is that you're not going to find a house for under $500,000. You're not going to find a house for under 700,000 in Williamson County. But if you're looking for, we have buyers from our group who've moved to Franklin. They just lived on the coast and overlooked the ocean. They could afford to buy really nice houses in Franklin. So Franklin's a beautiful town, and we did see lots of new construction in the Franklin area. And then we had a nice reception at a winery for some of our former Californians. And that's right, you missed that. You weren't there. You and Monty were off to the airport.
Oh, that's right. But Franklin was beautiful, but Franklin is on the higher end. I do agree. But what a great community. And the downtown was just phenomenal. And Ethan, he's such a great host. I got to ride around in the car with him all day long, and we got to chat and talk about real estate. It just was a really memorable, enjoyable day. And you got to realize, guys, that we're on day 10. So we're on day 10. So our brains might be a little bit not functioning at high capacity, but I mean, I remember it. It was a great day. And I really like Ethan. He's become a friend of mine, and we talk often. He was a great host. And so then me and Monty and I actually left, and we got to go to the airport. And I had a closing the next day, and I promised my clients that I would be back. I really wanted to finish up the tour, and I'm going to let Terry talk about that. But I had to get back. My client is legally, she's vision impaired, so she can't see. And I just promised her that I would be there. So I went back for that closing in Las Vegas. And then, and of course, I'm not sure if it's a fact, but I think it actually is a fact. Terry calls me up and he says, David, Cookeville was the best spot out of the whole trip. It was unbelievable. I can't really give you a lot of memories about Cookeville because I wasn't there. So Terry, take it away on Cookeville.
Well, I think Cookeville, it would be very appealing to a lot of people. Chena Morris, our realtor there, unbelievable. She's also helped a lot of Californians from our group move to the Cookeville area. And Cookeville also another big area, but what Chena did, she took us into a waterfall that's only accessible via boat. And she has a boat, so she took us out to that waterfall. That thing was easily 100 feet high. Beautiful water coming down. And they've got over 100 waterfalls in the Cookeville area, which, I mean, you don't think of Tennessee and waterfalls, but they've got them. And she knows that entire area like the back of her hand. Again, another large lake created by dams. And you can go, in fact, river boats used to go from the Gulf up to Cookeville all the way. That's hundreds of miles. So yeah, that tells you how navigable those waters are. If you can go all the way from the Gulf of Mexico up to and including Cookeville back during the riverboat days. So but I'm telling you, that downtown, so take kind of a blend of Morristown, which was hasn't been discovered yet to some degree, Knoxville, which has been discovered, Franklin's been discovered, but Cookeville, to me, in fact, we ran into a Californian there who owns a shop. He creates all of his own artwork. He was a funny guy. Monkey Works, I think it was called, with a U, Munkey Works, or Monkey Business, Monkey Works. I think it was Monkey Works. Yeah. Really a unique individual. But Cookeville, again, a beautiful downtown. We had a great lunch at a place called Crawdaddy's, which is Cajun food. It was as good as anything I've gotten in New Orleans. Mostly, I won't say 100%, but it was Crawdaddy's was great. And a really nice downtown to walk around. And they've got like a world-renowned donut shop there that people come from all over the world to eat that donuts. That starts with an R, I think. I didn't eat one because I need a donut like a hole in the head. So yeah, Chena did a great job with her team, and she has a nice sized team. And then that's where she introduced us to that California family that had moved to Cookeville and saw a need to opened a business. they said it was a piece of cake compared to trying to open a business in California. They went through, obviously you go through the process of getting permits and everything else, but we went to their soft opening. It's an axe throwing place. And it was already becoming very popular.
So how did
met with several people there who had moved from California also.
How did the real estate prices compare in Cookeville to Morristown?
They were more expensive, but not a whole lot more expensive.
Okay.
But definitely higher. Again, I think Morristown just hasn't been discovered yet. Once Morristown's been discovered, I think you'll start seeing prices. But also the nice thing about Cookeville is you are close enough. You're basically right in the middle between Nashville and Knoxville. So you've got that the ability to live close to two really nice sized cities. And of course, the Nashville airport is on that side of Nashville towards Cookeville. So in fact, we drove the next morning. It was an hour. It was 1 hour from our hotel to the airport when I dropped off Brandon and who else? Oh,
John.
And John and I were flying out that morning too.
So, I tried to get this done in 30 minutes. It was impossible. And we could probably go on. We could have made this 3 hours long, but we know that nobody's going to watch for 3 hours. And we're going to probably do snippets of this video so that we can share. But, the one thing that I want to kind of close up with this was actually my idea. And I think I said it kind of as a joke about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. I said, Terry, it'd be really cool if we could go around to these cities and actually be there. And then we could go and we could let people know from our own eyes what these different towns were. So it was my idea. And I would bring it up every once in a while. But about 2 months ago, I brought it up again and we started talking about it and we were a lot more serious. And then we started even talking about getting sponsors to help us do this because it's pretty expensive. It's not a cheap thing to do, but we felt that it was definitely worth it to spend the money and to get this information. So Terry, I got to ask you, when we close this thing out, and how did you think that the whole thing went? And was it close to what your vision was? And is this just the start of a bunch more to come? Or what are your thoughts on the whole?
Well, the first thing is that the good Lord blessed us with great weather. If we'd gone last week, we would have had some challenges in Tennessee with a lot of rain, a lot of wind. So the good Lord blessed us with great weather. Yes, it does rain any time of the day or year in other parts of the country, especially east of the Rockies. For those who live in California, I think it doesn't rain for 7 months of the year. Yeah, and so we had great weather, and what an amazing group of realtors we have. Now, and again, David, you say it all the time. These aren't realtors who are saying, okay, let's go buy a house. These are realtors like, if this is a great fit for you, we'll make this work. But we want to make sure this is the right place for you to move away from California. Most of them have lived in California before, so they understand what people are going through, what they're leaving. But just like people like Ethan Lanigan in Franklin, Corinne Kane in Charleston, these are people who looked all over, and they're living in places and very passionate about places they live because they looked at a lot of different places before they picked these. So one size doesn't fit all, obviously. That's why we toured 10 cities in 11 days. I think our next tour will be in Texas, is our plan, maybe for the fall. I don't want to go to Texas in the summertime because I don't want to melt, because it's no secret, you're going to melt. I grew up in Florida, moved to Texas in 1985, and it was hotter than Florida, which I couldn't believe. I thought Florida was as hot as it got, but it's not. So we're going to go in the fall. Of course, the number one complaint is, or question of people is, hey, I want to leave California, but I want the same weather. Well, you're not going to get the same weather. It's not that way. But you know what you're going to get? You're going to get a lot of freedom. You're going to get a lot of places where the government says, we want you protected. We want their criminals are prosecuted and jailed. What a concept. Can you believe that? You actually punish criminals. I know that's a foreign concept to people who live in California. And the schools teach education, reading, writing, and arithmetic is a priority. It's not indoctrination. If you're retired, cost of living is significantly lower in most other places in the country, significantly, unless you're retiring to New York City, which most people aren't going to do that. So anyway, I think we should keep this going, and not just to introduce these cities, but also to introduce these great realtors that we're working with, and they can be found, by the way, we keep the list under the files tab in the homepage of the groups, where you can find the list of realtors that we work with. It's right around 350 agents across the country.
Well, the interesting thing is that Terry and I met about 3 years ago. And when I first met him, I just thought that this was an amazing concept. And then we became friends, and then we became kind of partners. And then the next thing you know, I said, I want to help, and I want to help more people. And I became the national relocation director. And this is Terry's baby. I mean, he is super passionate about this. So the fact that he allows me to get on here and sometimes I'll share my screen and he gets nervous, but he still allows me to share my screen, and he allows me to have some flexibility. But he is very, very possessive of this, as he should be. This is his group, this is his creation. And the fact that he's allowed me to be a big part of this is super cool. And I want to say to you personally, thank you so much for trusting me and for putting the faith in me that I can help more people leave California. So that this is really special, and it's a work in progress, guys. We're nowhere near done. We're just getting started. This is like the tip of the iceberg. And Terry every week talks about how I was going to get a couple hundred people. Our goal is to get 1 million people, if that's what the good Lord wants us to do. Help 1 million people and give people resources on how to leave California. And we are just getting started. So you guys are going to see some big changes. You're going to be super impressed with the video production that we provide and the way that we provide it. And these future tours are going to be excited. And we can't wait. So if you're watching this and you live in a city that we're coming to visit and we're having a reception for all the Leaving California members, please, we really would love to meet you personally. We want to hear your stories. We know that helps other members from our Leaving California groups. And Terry, again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for taking me with you on the trip. And thank you for trusting me to be able to help people relocate and get out of California. So I really appreciate it. It's been a great journey so far, and I'm super excited about the future.
Well, David, again, thank you for suggesting this tour. It was a great idea and a great thing to do. And I appreciate all your help with everything. And most of all, I'm very thankful that you don't snore.
All right, guys, have a great week, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you all.